Your flight attendant to her fully upright and locked position. Oh, wait a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat and buckle up. Seat backs and tray tables in their full upright position. It's another episode of Skip Happens. A view from 30,000 feet. From the first music lesson to the first paid gig to signing the deal, it's the journey that is the life of an artist. Now, here's your captain and co-captain, a.k.a. your hosts, Skip Clark and Deb Lamphear.
You get one half. You don't get the other half tonight. But she, just to let everybody know, Deb's been in Nashville pretty much up till today at the CMA Fest. Why? Brooks Forsyth is with me, but hang on, Brooke, because I am actually on the wrong side of this screen. So I'm going to shrink myself down. Hold on there. Myself back up.
Yeah.
Nah, because I am not Brooks Forsyth. That, everybody, is Brooks Forsyth. How are you, my friend? It's good to see you.
Doing well. It's good to see you, too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's the first time we've met, first time we've chatted, first time we've hung together.
However, we had about 4.5 minutes there before we went live, so we really
got into each other's lives,
for a while.
But, cool. Yeah, cool. Well, I'm glad they sent you my way because right off the top, I can tell you did a cover of a great song that was out many years ago. Everlasting Love. I remember the Carl Carlton version of that, which came out in the early 70s, but Robert Knight even did it before that. So,
yes, yeah, that was, I think, the highest charting single for that song in the U.S. was the Carl Carlton. I believe that was in 73. I could be wrong, but that's around that time. And as the disco era was starting to take off, it caught that wave. But the original was Robert Knight in the late 60s. And it was recorded. Wow. They were both recorded in Nashville.
Really?
People might not know that because it's not your stereotypical country sound by any means, those versions. But
it doesn't really have to be anything and everything's being recorded in Nashville nowadays. I mean, all different genres of music. It's all done there.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of different kinds of rock and roll that's moving there now. And but even before the real country craze took off, like from what I understand, there was a lot of blues music, there was a lot of rock music, and even before it was really known as a country town. There's been so many different kinds of music in Nashville.
Where are you right now? You're not in Nashville.
I'm in a bunker. I can't disclose my location.
It's secret.
I'm in North Carolina. I'm from Boone, North Carolina, a little town.
Oh, no way. Awesome.
Yeah. It's where Appalachian State is from.
State.
And that's where I'm from originally. So I'm back here for now. And I was just in Nashville last week doing some stuff. So
CMA Fest.
I actually got out of town right at CMA Fest. I learned I wasn't winning any awards, so I
Well, we know CMA Fest is not about the awards; it's about showing off to the fans, getting on one of the hundreds of stages that I'm sure they have there.
So. Yeah, it was wild, and I know they probably. Well, it just finished, right?
It just wrapped up. I mean, because my co-host Deb, normally she's on with me. Right. She just got back today. Yeah.
So the heat waves like coming in. I guess it was either today or I mean, it's starting to. I was getting out of town just as the heat wave was rolling in. So
it's that time of the year. So
yeah. Well, luckily it didn't hit during all that when everybody was in town. It was actually cooler, I think.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about you, Brooks. I mean, how long you been doing music? What's the deal?
Well, I started. I was born on 1988, December 31st, and then let's see. I could go day by day if you want me to.
No, I don't know if we have that much time.
I could melt it down. Basically, I heard. Well, one thing that was notable is I heard I'm from Boone, as I said, and I heard Doc Watson play when I was, I guess, probably 3 or 4 years old. I saw him performing at a local park right down where I'm from. And there's actually a picture of me when I was, I guess, 3 or something. I ran up to the stage and was just staring up at him and just mesmerized by his playing, and his singing and everything. So I saw him playing throughout growing up, and even to this day, he's a big influence of what I do, especially when I'm traveling, touring
Cool.
live, and and so I think that there's a lot of things that inspired me, but I started playing in in different bands in high school primarily, and there was open mic nights and things like that. But the real thing that changed me into more of a career trajectory, we'll put it like that, is I started playing at barbecue restaurants. I was working in some barbecue restaurants, and they would have bluegrass and folk musicians in the barbecue restaurants.
Cool.
So that, along with being influenced by Doc Watson, that kind of geared me more towards that mountain sound and country music, and it led to all that other kind of stuff. So,
so you have that the country music feel, maybe a little Americana, something along those lines, which is cool. Yeah. How often do you get to Nashville?
It just depends. I mean, I was living there for a while. I've lived there off and on, just little tiny spurts since 2012. But during the whole shutdown time, I didn't get back there at all. So I really had some stuff. It felt like some momentum was building there. I started recording in a studio there in 2018. And I made one album, we released it, and then we made almost the whole next album, and then the pandemic hit, and so I didn't go back for over a year. But before then, I say even if I'm not, if I'm not subleasing there for months at a time, I will get there at least 6 or 7 times a year at the least.
Wow. That how would you describe your music? Americana, you said, right? Like that type of music. But then again, you go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, Americana is hard to there's a big umbrella for Americana. And you've heard a lot of artists that sometimes it's such a broad, way to generalize some music, but it's an American influenced music, whether it's folk or blues or bluegrass or country or rock. I mean, I think a lot of that stuff goes into what I'm trying to do. And I mean, I like a lot of early pop music too. I was just,
I was going to ask. Okay.
That kind of stuff as well. It's not just, it's not just straightforward old country or whatever. I like all kinds. I like the Beach Boys and all that stuff as well, and so it's just a melting pot of all that, mainly American music, but
I love it. Hey, by the way, I see a little note on here. Bobby Jambalaya says hello.
Bobby Jambalaya. Oh, I think that's my uncle.
Hello, uncle.
Shout out to my family down in Alabama. We got Ryan. Yeah, we got multiple cousins on there. Will, Bobby, Ty. Yeah, shout out to my family.
When was the last time you talked to them?
It's been over a score. I mean, it's been. It didn't even. No, I saw them a couple months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. It's always.
They're good. Like, holy crap! Look who's on. Brooks is on. Hey, remember me? I'm your uncle.
My fan club. Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool. So the pandemic rolled around, and I'm sure you've been asked this a million times. What happened? What did you do? Were you able to at least write music or play music, or were you able to get out of that bunker at all, do something or not?
Well, luckily, I had a pretty good year before. If not, it could have been it would have been a total game changer.
Yeah.
But I definitely had to. I had a little bit saved up, so I wasn't as I didn't have to. Some of my other musician friends, it pretty much pushed them out of the music industry.
Yeah,
so I have, my main struggle was just basically going stir crazy over it, but I definitely used the time more for writing, and I wrote a lot of new songs, but I also, one thing I did was I went back and finished a lot of songs. I had all these fragments of songs from way back, all leading up until the current time, and it was a good time to go back, and it was almost like you could everything slowed down, and I used it to finish a lot of tunes that I had probably would never have gotten to.
Did you put a lot of music in the bank, so to speak, like for down the road?
Absolutely. Now it's like I was just in Nashville last week, and I recorded. I tried to record an album. We'll see if it might be done. I haven't even heard all the tracks on it yet. So we did an album, but this was more of an acoustic, just singer-songwriter style album. I wanted to kind of follow up with this album that Everlasting Love Is On is more, full band produced. And so I kind of followed up with this. I'm trying to follow up with this acoustic album. and I did a few takes of each song, and so it might be done. But when I hear them back, I might have to go back and finish one or two.
What do you mean it might be done? You don't know if it's done?
You never know. You
Is
never
it up
know.
to the producer, or is it
Well,
something?
I just haven't heard all the tracks yet, so it could be, there could be a hit song just sitting there on someone's.
I'm sure there is.
We don't even. I mean, most likely that's
There is. I'm telling you, there is.
Yeah. But anyway, I need to hear them, to make the final call. But hopefully it's done. But anyway, I went out there and was trying to get some new recordings done, and so we'll see what happens with that.
I got you. What's your creative process like? I mean, when you sit down to write, what goes through your mind?
Well, it's funny, because like in Nashville, there's a lot of kind of the set way that some writers on Music Row have gone about it. What I've heard, I've never done this before, but writers will actually have these writers' rooms, and they'll meet up, and I don't know what makes a writer's room, if it has like guitars on the wall, or if it has like memorabilia of big hits in the past.
I think they're all different.
Yeah, whatever it is that stirs that creative wellspring. But for me, it's usually when I have to sit down and really focus on, I got to write something right now. That's like when I close off all of the creative doors, or whatever you call them. It's almost like whenever I take a break from trying to get something done and I go outside or go on a drive or a run or whatever, that's when the idea comes, and it comes really quickly. So one thing I've noticed is that when I'm traveling, I seem to get more ideas coming to me. I think for that same reason, it's on the move. And when I'm touring or traveling, driving around the country, and I don't always finish the songs, then kind of leading back to what I said earlier, I'll get fragments of ideas, But I think the real idea for me is it's like you put a pan under the cracks so that when stuff falls through the cracks, you at least catch the fragments, and then you can take them to the lab. And that's when the work comes to just sort of, cut, glue the pieces together, basically. So I don't know if that gives you any insight into the creative process.
A little bit,
as much as I know about it, but and I listen to a lot of music and try to read. I read sometimes.
And what are you reading?
Let's see. What was the
what
last?
are you into right now?
That's a good question. Might have to get back to it. No.
Okay. No, it's all good.
I read Catch 22. Everyone. Yeah.
Wait a minute. That's old.
Yeah. That's an older one.
I know it is.
Apparently it was people thought it was pretty good.
Well, if you read it, it's got to be good.
Yeah, certainly. But I did actually read that book recently. But no, that was another thing I did over the pandemic, is I was able to go back and I read a lot of stuff that I was supposed to read in high school, and then I didn't get around to, back then. So that was good.
So why Everlasting Love? A song that's been out, I mean, it's got some time to it, but why that song?
Well, the main reason is the producer I've been working with is Buzz Kaysen. Okay. And he's from Nashville originally, and he was the one who co-wrote the song with Mac Gaden back in the late 60s for Robert Knight. And so I got in with him, and we've been doing some recordings at his studio. I made a full album. And then it wasn't until the second album, and I never thought of approaching that song, but there was something. He was up in Canada playing a festival with Billy Swan. Do you remember Billy Swan?
I do. I Can Help.
Yeah, and all kinds of other Nashville.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's a big hit, but he was with Billy Swan. Buzz and Billy are friends. They play shows, and so they were up in Canada. I think it was Vancouver. And they played this festival, and they encored with Everlasting. And he got back in the States, and he gave me a call, and he was just telling me about the show. And he said, we ended with Everlasting Love, and the crowd just was singing along and was still loving it. It's amazing how this song is just, it continues to live on, and it was something about that conversation where I got off the phone. I said, man, I should take a stab at it. If he'll grant me permission, you know. So I made a demo of it and then sent it to him. I said, what do you think about this? And he said, cool, let's try it out, you know. So it happened pretty quickly after that.
That's cool.
And I always, I mean, it's a classic song, you know.
Oh,
It's
no doubt.
contagious kind of.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of different counter melodies that
You kind of put your own spin on it too. Kind of made it your
well,
own.
I tried. Yeah, I tried to. And you know, some of the other recordings I'd done with Buzz, I double tracked vocals. And he had been seeing that I was trying to get better at double tracking. So it was his idea to get me to double. If you listen to that song, I'm double tracking a lot of the vocals.
Okay. Explain to everybody what double tracking is.
So it's you just sing it twice. You know, you sing it one time, and then you keep that audio, and then you sing it. You try to match it right over the audio again, and you keep both vocal tracks. And it, you know, like a lot of Beatles songs, a lot of
double tracked.
John Lennon stuff is double tracked. A lot of Pink Floyd is double tracked, and you know,
what is the reasoning for that, Brooks?
Well, sometimes it makes a bad singer sound not as bad. That's one of the.
Well, you're not bad. So.
Yeah, well, but maybe that's because you only heard the double track. I don't know. Maybe it worked. But, no, I mean it's. I think that it definitely just adds an effect. I mean, these days you can add effects digitally that sound like double tracking, and especially if the double tracking is a little bit off, it kind of has this latency lag, which sounds like a slapback effect.
Right. Yep.
Or a bit of an echo. But really, I think that it reinforces a strong melody if you do it right. And that's why, you know, if you listen to some of those early Beatles records, not the first album they did, but pretty early on, John Lennon particularly, he started double tracking almost all his songs for a while. And you know, you wonder, it's just one more reason I think why they're so catchy. They get, you know, they get stuck in your head, and because it reinforces that melody line. It makes it stronger. It makes it more bold. It's like putting it in bold, you know.
You know, I wonder if with that you're talking about Lennon with that English accent, how hard it would be to double track. To make sure you get it exactly the same every time.
Yeah, it was probably an extra challenge for him, but you know, he seemed to figure it out.
Yeah.
He seemed to get it. Whatever he did, I think it worked. At least
do you think?
I'm now that it just came to me right now, Skip.
Do you think?
I think it might have worked for him.
Yeah, I think so. That's cool. You know, has anybody ever told you kind of look like Billy Currington? Probably not. Never mind.
What people are
must be the hair. That's
is that right? Yeah. Well.
Yeah, well, never mind.
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
That's good stuff.
I don't know which direction that was going, but isn't he the guy that sang "People Are Crazy"? Or
yes,
great,
yes.
He's good. People are crazy.
Yes, exactly. That is him. Yes.
Yeah, he had
that and a whole lot of other.
Yeah,
songs.
yeah. He's had some real big ones, and so maybe I think that's a good thing if I look like him.
So how far, you said you're in North Carolina. How far are you from the beach? Like we go to the Outer Banks every year.
Yeah. I was just saying, I just got back from Ocracoke Island, but I'm probably, I guess, like 6 hours from the coast.
Yeah. Okay.
Approximately. And then if you're taking the ferry, it's another like 2.5 hours out to like the Outer Banks area, you know, unless, if you're going to Nag's Head, they have a bridge, but
right. So, that's way down the other end though.
Right, exactly. So, and probably about 6 hours, maybe a little less from like Wilmington area too. Okay. You know, that's the city down there. And so, I used to get down there more often. I played some shows down there.
That was going to be my next question. What shows have you played?
I used to play. There was one place in Wilmington. I don't even think it's open anymore. It was called Keffy's Tavern.
Okay.
And if anybody's watching from that area, and they're from Wilmington, they would know Keffy's. That would be the litmus test. If you're really a Wilmington native, you would probably know Keffy's. But I used to play there. We played a place called the Rusty Nail.
Oh yeah, okay.
That was a pretty wild show, if I recall. It's kind of hard to recall.
Now the Rusty Nail is a pretty popular name for a venue, for a bar.
Yeah. It's like, I guess I don't know if it's not a chain. It's just something that a lot of different venues use, if I understand it. But
Exactly.
yeah, I played the one that was in Wilmington at one point in time. I played a bunch of venues down there. We played out in Carolina Beach area. There's a lot of, we played a lot of stuff in Wrightsville, like just private parties. Like
Wrightsville Beach.
Yeah. So, I played down there quite a bit, but I've been more focused on east, like towards Nashville and that area the last few years.
Mm-hmm. Describe one of your shows to us. If we were to go see Brooks Forsyth, what would we see?
Have you ever seen any videos of Sun Ra? Everyone Google Sun Ra. It's pretty much exactly Sun Ra. I think he claimed to be from Saturn. He's a jazz musician. It's probably something like that. No, it's not. It's not. I mean,
I know.
It's basically the live show I've been doing lately is more roots inspired music. It's like I do a number of Doc Watson covers. Okay. I do some stuff that Jerry Reed used to do, and Tony Rice, like some bluegrass, finger picking music, flat picking. I try to do that kind of stuff. I like Chet Atkins. So the live show that I've been touring around, and some of it's just because I'm playing solo. I've started learning to gear the show more towards finger picking. And I have a bunch of original songs kind of in that vein. But I say that because like we're doing this about everlasting love, and the stuff I've been doing live is a little bit more old root stuff, but
I love that though, dude.
I try to combine it all. And I think it's given promoters like quite a struggle. Like, well, what, like we like what you're doing, but what are you? It's like, what show did we put you on? And so I think that comes somewhat from just like I've been playing at live shows for about 18 years. Wow. And when you're really desperate for gigs, especially in the lean years,
early on, lean years, you're right.
I'm still in the kind of that somewhat territory, but when you early on, you take whatever gig you can get, if you're just trying to do it full time. And so, well, tonight they need a bluegrass band. Okay, we can play bluegrass. We're a bluegrass band. Well, tonight we need a bossa nova band. Yeah, we're a bossa nova band.
Take the gig. Take the gig.
Yeah, take the gig, and we'll
make it work. Take the gig.
Right, but as a result, you sort of gain a little bit of a little bit of each genre. And then when you finally get to the time when they're going to promote you, they ask you what style you are, and you're like, well, there's like the top 17 styles, or whatever. So yeah, that's something I've continuously tried to figure out, is just what style. I like Americana just because it's an umbrella of a lot of different
kind of. And so I guess I shouldn't ask you what genre.
No, I need to figure it out, Skip. So if you have a better answer, let me know.
Well, I think the Americana's got that big umbrella, and and you go to Nashville, and after all, I mean, a lot of that is happening there. Speaking of Nashville, do you get out and perform in Nashville at all? Do you go down on Broadway, or where do you go if you're going to do a gig?
Well, I've played a few of the spots that people try to check off the list. I played the Bluebird Cafe one time.
And Bluebird's so cool, though.
Bluebird is, yeah.
You get through the door and it's so intimate, and it's you up there on a stool with a guitar.
Definitely.
That's cool.
I played there one time, and it was like when I first got inside, it was like, oh, this is the Bluebird, because I've heard so much about the Bluebird, and then it's like it's almost astonishing how intimate, how small it is, And I was like, this is going to be nothing. This is like a bar gig, And I sat in there for a while. I watched a couple other musicians, and the intensity started to build, and the audience is right up on the stage, and by the time I got on stage, that was like the most nervous I'd been in like that. It was on the end of a tour. And I was like, this is the most nervous I've been in a long time, just because it's like you can hear people breathing, when
everybody has said that.
Everybody listens too, so, but that's one spot I played. I played at 3rd and Lindsley a couple times.
Oh, good. Cool.
That's a neat venue. I've played at quite a few little, dives and stuff around there.
Station Inn?
You know what? I've never played at the Station Inn. I've been wanting to, and yeah, I've seen some great music there.
There's a lot of bluegrass, a lot of
Yeah.
Americana coming out of there.
Yeah, I would love to play there. I've been there a number of times, but somehow never found a way to play there yet. But it's on the list for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If somebody wanted to get a hold of your music, how can they do that?
Just all the digital, distributors. It's on YouTube as well. I've got all the social media stuff, but yeah, just anywhere you access music online, any of those digital distributors, it shouldn't. If we're doing our job right, it shouldn't be hard to find.
Right. You can Google anything now. Thank God for the internet.
Yeah. So,
go ahead.
Well, if you do have trouble finding it, just drop me a message on one of the socials, and I'll be happy to try to help you find it if you're looking for it. So
that's excellent. How has the internet impacted, the music business, in your words?
Well, it's given a much broader way to disseminate music. So with that comes more accessibility, but also comes more saturation, and so there's the give and take of that. It's easier to get started because you can make a record in your bunker or in your basement, and you can upload it yourself online, and it might take off. You can make a video for one of these social media platforms and it could take off. But there's a lot of competition as a result.
Oh yeah.
And so I think that, one thing I've ran into is in Nashville is I'm starting to meet some bigger contacts at labels and managers and things like that. And at this point, they'll say if they like what you're doing, they'll say, all you need to do now is get a little bit more of a following before you can get on the major label. And it's kind of a funny thing. It's like, all you got to do now is just get famous, and then we'll pick you up.
How is that going to work?
Yeah. It's like, well, that's what I need you for, but,
well, I'm here. But still,
so I think that is a product of the new age, is that, back in the day, it might've been harder to get in front of one of those record execs or whatever it is. But if they liked your sound, it might be easier to take more of a chance. They wouldn't have as many metrics to see exactly how big you are. Now they can look on Instagram, they can see how many followers you have in a second. And if you're not really exploding, it's like, well, it's probably not worth our investment, at least for the big,
right.
Try out all the smaller labels for now. And so I think that, that's to my knowledge, that's about like something specific that it's shifted in the industry.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. What would you say? It's kind of a crazy question, maybe. What would you say is your most useless talent?
Probably playing guitar when the gigs run dry,
But that's not useless.
It's all the above. Yeah. I mean, to be, that's being funny, but when the shutdown happened, the musicians kind of learned that a little bit amongst every other industry. They're like, wow, you quickly, something that you used to make money might be nullified like that, in terms of the whole market or whatever.
It's true.
But I don't know. I think that, I don't know, probably like yo-yoing or something. I was pretty good at that. I mean, people don't give me much credit for that these days.
Do they still make yo-yos?
I don't know, but
they must. They must.
There was a yo-yo craze when I was in I'm 33. When I was in 4th or 5th grade.
You walk the dog?
Oh gosh, that's elementary, Skip. Come on, I mean, you don't walk the dog. Yeah, I mean, no, but there was this yo-yo craze, and I guess we're talking about the turn of the millennium. 2000 time, and I remember everybody had their yo-yos at school, and then after a while they were banned.
Yeah, the ones they used to light up.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
it was more than just a yo-yo. They used to light up.
Yeah, and you'd oil the bearings. I mean, if you were serious, you had
yeah. And that's crazy.
I could have said we could do a whole other podcast sometime on just yo-yos. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Now you're starting to worry me. I don't know. You love your yo-yos. You love your yo-yos, but yet you're a great artist and guitar player.
Yeah. I play on the
putting
side.
out great music. So when you're not making music, you're playing with your yo-yo.
Yeah, that's right.
And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you could, Brooks, if you could collaborate with anybody, get together and do something with somebody, who would that be?
I don't know, like maybe like Ramblin' Jack Elliott. That's a guy that in the old folk scene, he's still around, and I got to meet him one time out west. But he, like the first time I really learned about him, I was reading Bob Dylan's book, Chronicles Volume 1, and he talks about Ramblin' Jack a lot in that book. And Ramblin' Jack used to tour with Woody Guthrie in the 50s.
Oh my gosh!
And he really inspired Bob Dylan early on, and was just a big figure in the kind of the folk revival. And he's just like the larger than life character. I mean, his name's Ramblin' Jack,
I know.
And there's a cool documentary on him if anybody wants to learn about him, Ballad of Ramblin' Jack Elliott. He's still around out in.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm not really sure. He's still around.
He's a cool guy. There's a video of him going on the Johnny Cash show on YouTube. That would be
my gosh.
Yeah. And Johnny Cash introduces him and he says, I've been a lot of places and I've met a lot of people, and I've been to Asia, I've been to Europe, he said, but he said, I mean, nobody has met more people and sung more songs and made more friends than my next guest, Ramblin' Jack. And when Johnny Cash says that about you, that's about.
Johnny Cash has been gone for how long? He's been off the television. He's been what? But oh my God,
I think was when he passed away, right? I think he passed away in 2004.
But then he came off of television probably 10, 15 years before that, at least.
Yeah. Well,
so you remember Johnny Cash?
I've heard of him. I've heard of him.
Thank God for you two.
Johnny Cash. Yeah. Well, I think that the Joaquin Phoenix movie brought him back to a younger.
Oh, that's right.
For sure.
Okay.
But also the thing in the country music documentary by Ken Burns.
Oh, that was so good.
He talked about how Johnny Cash, and for a while, I think it was in the 90s or something, maybe in the late 80s, 90s. I please fact check me and prove me wrong on here, but I'm just throwing out dates, like whatever. But they said that I think the record label dropped him for a while, after he'd had such a long career and so many big hits. But he did an album with Rick Rubin, which kind of was his comeback. And so he did kind of have a resurgence in the music industry, even after having a bit of a fall off. It's crazy how you can become one of the biggest stars in the world. And then if you're not producing, it only takes so long before the world moves on, the industry moves on.
Yeah, it does.
When you see Johnny Cash being dropped from the record label, that's
the shit has happened. It's crazy. It's crazy. What's the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh, I don't know. I think that just something about staying true to what you feel in your heart with the music. I mean, there's so many ways to get pulled into doing stuff just to make money or whatever with any type of art. And so I've had a number of musicians that have kind of, I would say, have helped me stay grounded. Just stay true to yourself, stay true to your heart, and make the music you want to make, and try to make it for yourself and not so much just for other people. And you make it for yourself, then I think that other people will feel it genuinely.
So, is there a song coming to radio? Everlasting Love. I mean, you're going to try to push that to radio, or?
Yeah, we've got a number of radio spots. I believe. I mean, they're doing a distribution plan with radio. I think it's hitting, I don't know how many different hundreds of stations around the country, but I just got word that there's a music video coming out next week for it, and they're going to put it on CMT.com.
Oh, that's cool, though.
No, I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I'm entirely sure that I'm excited about it.
Yeah, and you should be.
Well, we'll see what happens with it, but yeah. So I don't know if it means they're going to put it on CMT, but so that's one of the spots that's going to be premiered is on CMT.com next week. There's a number of other networks that's the music video is going to be played, and it's already on Spotify. We're trying to get it on playlists and stuff like that. So it's
cool.
It's out.
Well, I look forward to hearing it. Of course, I have heard it. when they sent me all this information about having you on, and of course they sent me the link to the song, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember. I think I actually had the original 45. I mean,
Really?
yeah, vinyl. You remember
That's
that
wild.
vinyl? I'm just
No,
saying.
no kidding. Yeah. Do you remember? Do you remember the first time you heard it? That's an interesting question to me.
It had to be, well, like I say, it came out in the early 70s. I'm gonna have to look this up, but
The
I remember the Robert Knight version. I remember that. I remember Everlasting Love coming out in the 70s by Carl Carlton.
Yeah.
But oh God, I was in high school. I mean, that's how old I am. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I remember I also had that 45. I can't give you the exact year, but
So it was a big part. It was a big part of your coming of age experience.
yeah, no, seriously, it
Yeah.
was. It was.
No kidding.
I love this. The format that I'm in now is mostly country and all that, and we're kicking some butt doing it.
Yeah.
But years ago, and still to this day, I'll listen to a lot of the older music. It just makes me feel good, and songs like that make me feel good. Even this is kind of crazy, and you may like this, is being an artist who has redone an old song. When I get up Sunday mornings and I come down to my studio and I go on YouTube and I'll put in a certain song or a certain artist and I'll put covers. I don't want to hear the original. I want to see what other people are doing with
No
it.
kidding.
And for example, that's probably where if I put an Everlasting Love cover, maybe after next week when the video comes out,
Yeah.
it's probably going to come up.
Yeah.
Brooks
Well,
Forsyth
hopefully
and
so.
Everlasting Love. I'm just saying, it's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I mean, I love, like we were talking about already, a lot of older music, but
Yeah.
there's something about that, like the '60s and what happened with the music industry around that time.
Oh my God, it was crazy.
always have a part of my
It's a lot of stories.
conversation.
And there's a lot
Yeah.
of books out on that too. There's a lot of stuff went down during that era, the 60s. And
Yeah,
then
it's
of
crazy to
course,
think that like so much of that history is really from like more or less a decade, if not even. Some of the stuff it's pretty wild how rapidly things progressed, and then you're getting, it's funny to think that in 10 years, like for example, what Elvis was doing in the late 50s was
Mhm, mhm.
risque or whatever, and then it took 10 years to get to Woodstock, or maybe a little longer, but it's like everything just kind of opened up wide, it seems like, and
Yep,
a
yep.
lot of history was made during that time. So
Mhm, mhm,
yeah, I will always be listening to older music from that time period. I think no matter
mhm.
what.
Are there any newer artists that you're digging right now, or you want to listen to a little bit deeper?
Yeah, there's a band. They just stopped touring. I'm hoping that it's one of those things where it's not, sometimes bands, they say this is it, and then they come back, and
Oh yeah, oh
so
yeah.
I think that I'm hoping that's the idea. But there's a band called Dr. Dog from
Okay.
Philadelphia, and I just was totally sucked into what they were doing, for back to
Mhm, mhm.
early aughts.
Really?
Yeah, or maybe mid aughts. Let's say mid aughts. I've been following Dr. Dog. I've seen them many times, and they kind of have a little bit of that. They write their own brand new songs, but they have a little bit of that older sound at times
Mhm,
from,
mhm,
and there's a little psychedelic sound and psychedelic pop kind of thing going on, rock, and
mhm.
so if people haven't listened to them, I'd totally recommend listening to Dr. Dog. Yeah.
I'm gonna be looking them up just out of
Oh, cool.
curiosity after we get done here tonight. Do you
Yeah.
have a favorite song to perform?
I think that fluctuates. It just depends on the night, but
Yep.
I've
Okay.
been playing, I've been playing Sitting on Top of the World a lot lately. The last tour I was like, and I played Deep River Blues too. That's
Oh,
one that
wow.
Watson
Yeah.
used to play. And
Yep, yep, yep.
sometimes I show up in a place, it's so weird when you're traveling around the country and you're going on in front of, like, you've never even been to the state, and now you're about to go up on the stage, mic'd up in front of all the locals. This is where they hang out there all the time, and you've never even been there. And it's like it's a pretty odd. No matter how long I've done it, it's always like it can be odd, And so something, if I play a song like Deep River Blues that I've played quite a few times, it kind of gets that first edge off.
Yeah,
What I'm doing,
yeah. I
and
can see that happening.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's one of those tunes, Deep River
That's a good
Blues.
answer. That's a good answer. I like that because I'm thinking about what you're saying, and I'm not an artist like you. I do something entirely different, but I guess being in your shoes and being in a venue that maybe you've never been in before, in front of people you've never seen before, somehow you've got to break that ice, and somehow you got to set the mood, and that
Yeah, I
will
mean,
do
sometimes they don't have chicken wire when they probably should,
it.
and you know what I mean. So you
Yeah,
gotta,
yeah. No, I know. I get
you get what I'm saying. Yeah,
it.
so,
Totally.
yeah.
I love it, brother. Oh man. So what's the most, and I'm not going to keep you much longer here. What's the most trouble you've ever gotten into?
You mean with music or just in general?
No, in life. In
Oh
life.
gosh, um,
God.
I don't know.
You're
Nothing too wild. I probably just just some stuff. Probably back in college, just stuff like
crazy
that.
shit.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
just staying
Stuff
up
where
too
you
late,
go, why did I do that?
burning the candle at both ends, kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you get slapped on the hand for it or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have any. I don't have any Johnny Cash style story. They didn't cross the border and try to get some
I love it.
narcotics or anything like that. I haven't done that yet, so we'll see what happens. But yeah,
Not even going to go there.
yeah.
Before I let you go, in 5 words, describe what you would like the rest of your life to be.
I just want to keep. Oh, it's 5 words.
5
I
words.
just want to keep. That was it. I want to keep.
No, you got to have another. No, that means it's going to be at least 6. No, 5 words. 5. Where's the camera here? 5.
Just want to keep recording.
Okay, I guess. Is that 5? I
Just want to keep recording.
Oh, just want to keep. Okay, 5
Yeah,
words.
I think that's actually pretty accurate. And I just want to keep recording and whatever.
Just be you.
Yeah, and I want to figure out who I am and then be that. But that's more
I
words.
love this. I love this. Absolutely.
You can make
Absolutely.
a series of bumper stickers from the end of this interview if we want, and we'll talk about that.
We can do a little business together here.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's Skip Happens after all. I'm just saying. Skip Happens with Brooks Forsyth. So now I forgot what I was going to ask you. Describe a day in the life of Brooks.
It just depends. I mean, some days there's an old Jimi Hendrix interview on I think Dick Cavett where he's like, "Do you get up every day and do this and this?" And he's like, "Well, I try to get up every day." And I think that I identified with that to some extent. I mean, some days, it's like between things, I don't do much of anything if it's resting. But most of the time, like last week, I was recording, and we would basically record for 3 or 4 hours and take a break. I might go on a run or something, to mix it up, and then try to keep recording. When I'm on the road, it's basically driving for 6 or 7 hours a day. And then you get to the place, hopefully you have time to go to the hotel or wherever you're staying, shower up and get to the venue, play 2 sets, hopefully get a free meal and get back to the hotel before the wee hours of the morning, have a few hours of sleep and then wake up and do it again. It just depends on either I'm traveling or recording. That's my main schedule.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Have a website?
Yeah, brooksforsyth.com. Yeah, it's
easy,
straightforward, and
that's the way to be, dude. Just straightforward. Don't
definitely.
Some of these other artists. I mean, I'm not speaking bad.
Yeah.
Just saying, sometimes
names. Yeah.
It's like, all right, you expect me to remember that?
Right. I've been trying to get better about that stuff. It's like just these days, if it's not one click, in a link or something, it's if you're sending someone down a rabbit hole or like, a breadcrumb trail, you're like, go to here and then type this in and do that. It's like people probably aren't gonna, you got to kind of put it right in front of them. So but yeah, that's my website, brooksforsyth.com.
Less is more. That's what they say in the radio biz. Less is more.
No kidding.
So just remember that. That's all. Less is more. That's all. I love it. I love it. Brooks, it's been great chatting with you here tonight. Everlasting Love. You said the video is coming out next week.
Yep.
And look forward to that. You said it's going to be on CMT.com. We don't know exactly where in there, but it'll be on CMT.com.
I've been told it'll be on there, so keep a lookout. But
don't they usually do like a section for new artists or new videos?
I think so, and that would probably be where it is. Yeah,
I would think among the other 1,000 that are in there, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So it'll be on there, and
That's cool.
There'll be other outlets. It'll be online. It'll be on YouTube, and it's coming out. It should be out next Monday, but it will be out next week, whatever the time. Yeah.
Any big shows in the near future that we can talk about?
One thing I kind of want to drop it. There's a festival I'm playing in Denver, Colorado. It's called the Shine Music Festival, and it's on August 27th. And people should. It's a newer festival. They've only done it, I think, maybe only 1 year, or if not, it's very new. And it's in Denver Park. And it's really cool. I was excited to get invited to it, and it's for a really good cause, and it's a benefit thing. So if people want to, I'd like to spread the word on that, because the people are really
absolutely
cool on, and so the Shine Music Festival, August 27th in Denver. If you're in Colorado, come on out.
That's good. August 27th. I don't think they'll have snow then, but we'll be
there. Well, I actually drove into Denver on a tour this February, and I came from Santa Fe, New Mexico that morning, and it was like 80 degrees, and I drove into a snowstorm in Denver. It was like from this really hot climate all the way into, it was like 3 degrees, and so hopefully
it's Denver for you though.
Exactly.
The Mile High City, and it's absolutely beautiful. Luke Combs was playing there a couple of weeks ago, and he was doing a stadium show, and it was a snowstorm. So I'm just saying.
Is that right?
Yeah. I guess I think it might have stopped or let up just before you went on, but it was an outdoor stadium show, and it was snowing like crazy.
That's paying your dues. That just shows no matter how big you get, you gotta keep paying your dues every now and then.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how big you get. That's right, and never forget that. I mean, as an artist or any artist, I mean, it's one fan at a time. You don't want to upset anybody. You give them what they want and what they paid for, and it'll just grow from there. So
no kidding.
Cool. Yeah. Brooks Forsyth, you're awesome, brother. I'm glad we got to get to know each other a little bit tonight and Skip Happens. Again, I'd love my viewers and listeners to go to brooksforsyth.com and dig into the website a little bit. Make sure you watch for the video that's coming out next week, you said, cmt.com somewhere. And it'll be on there.
Right there.
I'm proud of you, dude. That's cool. That's cool. How soon before you get to Nashville?
I'm hoping to get back in the next 3 weeks. I want to finish that album I was talking about. If it's not already done, I want to make sure it's done. So that's my goal. Next 3 weeks. And thanks to you too, Skip. Likewise, it was great to talk to you, and it's really cool to be on your program. So thanks for having me.
I appreciate you taking the time to do that, and hopefully we can keep in touch. And if I'm in Nashville, when you're in Nashville, we'll have to get together and have a cold one and just talk about life and music. So
sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, hang on there. We're going to say goodbye to our listeners. Brooks, thanks for joining us here tonight on Skip Happens.
Thank you again.